Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So, it's going to be another edition of This Week in Master Duel, wherein we cover all of the latest happenings, well, this week in Master Duel. We usually start in client and look at the in-game notifications, but honestly, there really wasn't anything in there this week. There was the tryout duel, the extreme 30-second duel, but I don't really feel the need to cover that because I don't think it's particularly interesting. I mean, it's a cute idea, but there's not really anything worth like diving into. You can play duels that last 30 seconds. If you win 3, you get a pack. That's pretty much all there is to it. So rather than that, I'm actually just going to start right here on Master Duel meta, instead of just kind of making that jump, literally 2 minutes into the video anyway. So, yeah, we're going to talk about some leaks. We're going to look at some of the changes that have come as far as like the win and usage rate statistics are concerned. I really like looking over those and the implications of the meta as a result. So we'll definitely be talking about that. And then we'll wrap it up, as always, by looking at some tournament reports. So let's go ahead and start in with leaks from just yesterday from Decade, the Nateria, I think that's how you say it, the Nateria deck. This is a very, very cute archetype in which the Dreaming Nateria is used as the sort of catalyst to throw out a bunch of fun and strong dessert-themed monsters. It's, again, a very cute archetype. The idea is that Nateria can put herself onto the extra deck. In fact, let's go ahead and read her. She is a Pendulum monster, a light fairy, level 1, scale 8, 0 attack, 1500 defense. The Pendulum effect states once per turn during your main phase, you can place a Nateria continuous spell from your deck or graveyard face up on your field, and if you do, add this card to your extra deck face up. You cannot special summon Dreaming Nateria the turn you activate this effect. Monster effect states, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your face up extra deck by having no cards in your extra deck except Dreaming Nateria. You can only special summon Dreaming Nateria once per turn. If this card is special summoned for every 3 of your face-down banish cards, you can banish up to 1 card from your opponent's field and or graveyard face-down, then shuffle 1 of your face-down banish cards into your deck for each card you banished by this effect. So, taking a look at this key monster here, we can already see that it is all about banishing cards face down. Sounds familiar, but I don't think this archetype is going to be nearly as strong as Castira. Let's take a look at some of the other cards here. Next one is going to be Dreaming Reality of Nateria Realized, a light level 10 fairy with 1500 attack and 3000 defense. Gains 100 attack for each face-down card in your extra deck. You can only use each of the following effects of Dreaming Reality of Nateria Realized once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can target 1 monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do special summon this card, if this card is special summoned, you can activate one of these effects, add a Dreaming Nateria from your deck to your face-up extra deck, or change one face-up monster on the field to face-down defense position. Next big monster here is Nateria Dream Defender, Coet, I'm sure I butchered that. Light level 10 beast, 2000 attack, 2500 defense. If you have face-up Pendulum card in your extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon one of these monsters by name per turn this way. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets a Nateria card you control, while you have a Dreaming Nateria face-up in the extra deck quick effect, you can banish 1 face-down card from your extra deck face down, negate the activation. You can only use this effect of Dreaming Nateria Dream Defender Coet once per turn. Okay, so there's already a bit of a conflict here, in my opinion, right? Like, in order to use the monster effects of Nateria, in order to summon her, you have to have no cards in your extra deck except for her. But we can't just go with a no extra deck build, because already we're seeing that we do need to be banishing cards from our extra deck in order to be fulfilling a lot of these effects. I'm guessing the face-down banishing is also going to have to do with banishing your extra deck cards face-down. Let's keep reading. Nateria Dream Defender Aurelier, also a light level 10 beast, 2500 attack, 2000 defense. If you have face-up Pendulum monster in your extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon one of this monster by name per turn this way. If you have a Dreaming Nateria face-up in your extra deck quick effect, you can banish 1 face-down card from your extra deck face down. This card gains 500 attack for each monster your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. Ooh, that's bad. Honestly, that's not good. It's just not good. It's it's a conditional attack gain effect. It's conditional both in that you have to have a face-down card in your extra deck to banish, which this deck has already established that it doesn't even always want to have that. And two, it's also conditional because it's per your opponent's monsters. This is, you know how Prime Heart was a conditional OTK tool in Monadium and sees 0 play as a result? This is somehow a 10 times even more conditional OTK tool. But it's one of this deck's 5 main deck monsters, which I don't think bodes very well for this archetype. Nateria Dream Devourer, Reviel, is a dark level 10 beast with 2500 attack and defense. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down except Dreaming Nateria. Special summon this card. You cannot special summon monsters in the extra deck the turn you activate this effect except Pendulum monsters. You can send one other level 10 beast monster from your hand or face up field to the graveyard. Set one Nateria trap directly from your deck. Okay, this one seems better than the last two, or at least in the last one for sure. Honestly, I'm going to have to really hope that the spell and trap cards are going to be enough. Spoiler alert, I don't think they are. Excuse me. Sweet Dreams Nateria is a normal spell card. Add one Nateria monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if you have Dreaming Nateria face up in your extra deck, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects this turn when a Nateria monster is normal or special summoned. You can place this card from the graveyard on the bottom of your deck, then target one Dreaming Nateria you control, add it to your extra deck face up. You can only activate one Sweet Dreams Nateria per turn. Okay, so reading this card kind of makes me... I don't know, it's at this point where I kind of realize that maybe you don't always want to be summoning Dreaming Nateria, or at the very least, like, that doesn't necessarily have to be a part of what you always do every single turn, which might make the condition of having no cards in your extra deck except for her a little bit less constrictive. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge that if you're not going to be summoning this, then you're not going to be able to banish cards in your opponent's field. In which case, like, I don't know, what are we doing in this deck then? Excuse me. Alright. Dream Tower of Princess Nateria is the only continuous spell card that we're seeing here. So this is the one that you would be setting up with the Pendulum effect of the Dreaming Nateria. Let's see how good it is. You can banish 2 face-down cards from your extra deck, face down, add 2 level 10 beast monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except Pendulum monsters. You can only use this effect of Dreaming Tower of Princess Nateria once per turn. If a Nateria monster you control would be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, while you have Dreaming Nateria face up in your extra deck, you can banish 1 face-down card from your extra deck face down instead. Okay, so things definitely seem to come together a little bit more for this archetype after reading this. This not only provides a consistent way to actually banish your extra deck cards face down to be able to eventually summon Nateria to banish your opponent's field, but on top of that, it also adds the level 10 beast monsters, which is really cool. Well, not this one, this one's a fairy, but it adds the level 10 beast monsters. That's super cool. But now that we've seen this key engine piece, I kind of still don't really see the deck as a whole coming together. I don't think not being able to summon from the extra deck is inherently in and of itself a bad thing. There are certainly decks that can not do that and still perform very well, but I kind of have a hard time seeing this being one of them, just because, again, for the most part, the payoff for me isn't really here. Like, again, you're giving up your extra deck. You're giving up your extra deck, and also not just summoning from it, but also banishing it face down to ultimately what? Gain some attack points, stop a targeted effect, change a monster to face down defense position, not even as a quick effect. It's like, I fail to really see how this is this is really going to be super duper good. But we still have a couple trap cards to read. Let's go into those. Nateria Louvre. Special summon 1 Nateria monster or 1 level 10 beast monster from your hand or deck in defense position, but return it to the hand during the end phase. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 100 attack and defense for each of your currently face-down banished cards until the end of this turn. I don't see it. I think this card is terrible, frankly. Nateria Rep-Ateur is a continuous trap card. The last piece of support we're going to be looking at here. If you control another Nateria card, you can banish the following number of cards from your extra deck face down, except Dreaming Nateria, then activate the appropriate effect. 1, add a Nateria card from your graveyard to your hand. 2, any damage you take this turn is halved. 3, send 1 level 10 beast monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Nateria Repeter once per turn. So I will say this does actually kind of read as another bigger payoff card to me. However, I think the issue with me for this here is that the 3 effect is obviously what we want. Being able to negate the opponent's entire field is pretty good, and it's not even that conditional to activate. We do have to give up one of our level 10s. I wish this just said that if you control the level 10 beast, you could do this effect, but we do have to send it as well, but that's fine. I mean, we do have the Reviel, which can set this up directly as well. But again, if this is going to be like the big payoff here, I'm kind of not seeing it, frankly. I see what the deck is supposed to do. I see how it functions, and I can see how this kind of strategy might be neat or fun. I'm not saying it's not interesting. I just don't think it's very good, especially compared to what things in the meta are currently doing. All in all, I think this archetype is very, very cute, and if you like it for that reason, I would highly implore that you get it. But if you're pulling for this deck expecting something honestly even like upper rogue tier, I think you're going to struggle to find something very competitive here. But again, that's not always a bad thing. In any case, let's go ahead and move on to the next leak, which is a bundle, the 2024 bundle. It seems that the Goblin Kid just cannot catch a break and is getting a false New Year's sort of fortune here. I'm guessing that's what this is. I do not know the cultural implications of this, unfortunately. So, I mean, it's a deck box. It's a background. It's also, 30 master packs. So, if this bundle costs 2,500 or fewer gems, which it probably will, then I think it's worth it for the packs alone. But also, I mean, come on, look at the art. You can't not have it. I think so anyway. All right. Okay, here is the big one I was really eager to get into. Official in-game card usage, / win rate report update for December 26th. So keep in mind that, of course, we can't pull data from the future. So this is going to be looking at data from the last month or so. All right, Maxi and Ash Blossom. I've said this before. These shifts are completely meaningless. I can't wait to see the millionth meme of, oh, Maxi usage rate going down. Is the game finally healthy? Please stop making these jokes. They're very played out. They're not funny anymore. Nah, whatever. I mean, whatever. If you want to make them, you can. But this category is almost never worth looking at. At least as far as the changes go, of course, if you want to talk about how big of a problem it is, that Maxi and Ash Blossom see such high usage rate, which I do think is a problem. Of course, that is a discussion that is there to have, but it's been had so many times, I'm not going to have it here. Okay, called by usage rate, went up a little bit. I don't think that's particularly worth noting. Improves usage rate went down by a lot, looks like 7.5%. Yeah, I think that's because we're in a meta where having one negate against any given deck is just not often going to stop it. You think about Mathmech, you think about Dragon Link, you think about Branded Despia. How often playing against these decks have you been confident holding one Imperm and nothing else that you could stop their whole turn? It does happen once in a blue moon, but yeah, I think it's pretty rare for this card to be as effective as it has been in the past against, for example, like normal summoned Moye, right? Which, you know, I think that's fine. I think it's fine if we need more nuanced or varied disruption in the meta. But this is also the kind of meta where effects like Joel and Mockbird, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, tend to be better as a result because they have a lingering effect that applies for the whole turn, save, of course, like Maxi, but Maxi is always good, which is the lingering effect over the whole turn is far more likely to stop your opponent than one piece of disruption. It's also why Nibiru over here is seeing an increase in play, and also why it's effective as a hand trap overall, is because while it isn't a lingering effect, it is sort of a lingering effect in that it dictates how your opponent plays their entire turn, as opposed to imperm, which mostly does dictate only how they play that one card. And also, one imperm is a lot easier to plan around than a board-wide sweep that something like Nateria would provide, or a turn-wide prevention of effects being activated that Duel might provide. So again, the fact that we're seeing imperm take a decent size loss in usage rate, that actually does make sense to me. Crossout is pretty much about still the same, I think. Zeus seeing a decent dip in play. I imagine this just has to do with decks that play Zeus seeing a little bit less play. Indeed, if you think about a lot of the top tier 1 decks right now, which I think of Mathmech, I think of Dragon Link, I think of Branded Despia, those decks which are seeing more play tend not to play Zeus as often. So again, this makes sense to me. Nib going up in play by 5%. We already discussed this, but again, it is a sort of disruption effect that has the impact over the course of an entire turn as opposed to one particular effect or activation. So makes sense why we're seeing more of it and why it just is generally good right now. Bestial Magnum Hut. We're also going to talk about Druid Swarm a little bit as well, because these cards, holy cow, do they see a jump in play. Druid Swarm saw a 13.5% increase in play, and Magnum Hut saw an almost 17%, I believe that is what, 16.6% increase in play. This is for a couple of reasons. One, decks that already want to play these cards, see Dragon Link and Branded Despia, have gotten a noticeable increase in play, as well as an increase in their power level with recent releases. On top of that, Bestials are already pretty good, not only against those decks, but against Mathmech, one of the other biggest decks of the format. And one thing, too, that I don't think is thought about quite as often as the other two factors is that Bestials are really good at countering other Bestial monsters as well. I mean, think about it. Even if your opponent is using one of their Bestials to eat something out of your graveyard that you want to be there, if you have the ability to chain your Bestial in response, then yes, you still lose your card out of the graveyard. It's still being banished. However, you do still get to prevent your opponent from summoning their Bestial monster while still putting another body on the board yourself. And especially for a deck like Dragon Link, that might even kind of cancel out the fact that you had to banish your own card out of the graveyard, having an extra extended body on the board. And not to mention, these bodies aren't just bodies. If it's Magnum Hut, it comes with a search for more disruptive bodies. If it's Druid Swarm, it offers further disruption as well by sending other cards on the field to the graveyard. And then there's also Sarnir, which isn't listed here. It's actually just down here, but can definitely help send Lubellion, which can help set up the overall greater Bestial strategy. But again, the main thing that the Bestials are really good at right now is acting as disruption. Again, even against other Bestial monsters. It's something we saw in Tier 0 format as well, where as the format went on, I mean, Bestials were popular as soon as they came out, but as the format went on, we definitely saw like more and more decks that wouldn't normally play Bestials actually playing Bestials, not only because it countered tier limit, but it also because it countered the Bestial monsters that tier limit were playing. So makes a lot of sense to see Bestial seeing a lot of play right now. Very, very good cards. Bestial stonks way, way up. Triple Attack effectively didn't move. Baron saw a huge increase in play, likely mostly due to Dragon Link, but I think the format overall, I think also Fenrir also helps Baron see more generic play, which effectively Fenrir didn't really move at all, but the more play that Fenrir sees uniquely in Master Duel, the more play Baron sees, because Fenrir is a level 7 staple monster that can special itself. This happens to pair well with a level 3 tuner that's in almost literally everybody's deck already. Therefore, if you're playing a deck that it has a very flexible extra deck, and you're already playing these very common staple cards, kind of doesn't make sense to not play Baron de Fleur in your extra deck. So again, I think Baron sees more generic play now than it has in the past, because Fenrir has seen more generic play, well, just in general, by virtue of existing. This is also, of course, probably likely due to more decks in the meta having more flexible extra decks. Also, consider stuff like Monadium, you know, that came in recently. Bistio Runic, while not a huge impact on the overall metagame, is still present enough that it's probably at least somewhat affecting this as well, if I had to guess. Alright, now finally down to the 25% plus category. Underworld Goddess starting to see a slight dip, not huge enough to really be noteworthy, but there's a lot less Pearly on ladder, at least that I've noticed, so that might be why less people feel the need to play Underworld Goddess. Lubellion and Sarnier are here for the first time, seeing 25% plus play. Again, we're in a Bistio meta, so this makes sense to me. Duel and Lockbird has actually gone down a little bit. I think this is people kind of realizing, I don't know, this could be any number of things, really. It could be due to the number of decks that cannot play under Duel, seeing a more increase in play. Hence, Duel seeing an overall decrease in play, despite the fact that we are in a meta where Duel is pretty good. I was also going to say that, you know, a lot of people were kind of jamming Duel, viewing it as an auto-win disruption tool. You should never view any piece of disruption as auto-win. Do not play in your deck or any particular game a piece of disruption and expect it to carry the game for you. You will find yourself let down quite a bit. It's true that Duel does shut a lot of decks and their sequences out of the game, but again, jamming 3 of this into every single deck you play, expecting it to auto-win games for you is not the way to go. Chaos Angel seeing a massive jump in play, again, likely due to a lot of decks that can accommodate it a lot more easily now, especially with the Bestials. I mean, think about it. With Bestials, if your deck has level 4 light or dark monsters, then you can make Chaos Angel, even if that monster is not a tuner. So, yep, again, makes sense we're seeing an increase in play there. And Pressured Planet Raidsoth seeing a slight increase in play, barely enough to put it back up over the 25% plus mark. I think this is probably mostly due to Monadium, but also Kashtira and its variants are, I've noticed, slightly more popular than they were before. Okay, top decks by win rate. Again, this does not actually take Master Duel metas in-game statistics, which I really don't like that they're doing that here. Or, sorry, Master Duel's official in-rate game statistics. Master Duel meta is using their own internal statistics to determine top decks by win rate, which I will say, yeah, it is definitely dumb that as far as in-game official win rates go, we just have some decks that are completely omitted, but I guess this is, I don't know, this is more complete information, but it's still not fully complete information. But I guess to be fair, it's the best of what we have. I'm not the biggest fan of it still, but nah. I do think it is very interesting to see Gishki up here. Gishki. This is further evidence of things I've said about Gishki in particular, because a lot of people have asked me, hey Hex, what happened to Gishki Sprite? It fell off. It fell off because people stopped playing it. It didn't fall off because it's bad. This is 100% evidence of that. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the stats. I don't think that win rate when played stats are particularly noteworthy, honestly. So, yeah, just a few tournament results to look at. We had the latest Master Cup here. Had a lot of very interesting lists in this tournament in particular. We saw Kashtira winning it all, and actually on the Sacred Sword of 7 stars. I don't think this card is particularly good, but this player obviously saw a good amount of success with it. I mean, single Evelyn best of 3, 60-player pool is a very solid tournament. So, yeah. Good for them. Definitely good for them. Also, being a best of 3, it is a lot easier for a deck like Kashtira to get in there. When it has a 2 out of 3 as opposed to just playing best of 1 and breaking that one game. So, ooh, got a Monadium list here. Oh, wait, is this... Oh, no, this is an Albaz list that's playing a Scareclaw package. I saw the Vysis and the Scareclaw and the Bestials, so I was like, oh, it's Monadium, but... No, this is actually a very interesting branded list. I would actually love to talk with this player or watch their games and see exactly how the Scareclaw engine assisted in their endboards. Yeah, it looks very, very cool. Whaley Davey, very, very good player. We see this person top a lot, and they are on a very, very good deck with Mathmech Adagnister. Shurit here is one of our Vanquished Soul players that topped. Got another Vanquished Soul player here. Very spicy Chaos Pile list here. It's kind of Chaos, or D-Link rather, but at the same time, in the extract, as you can see, we have like Zombie Vamp and Curious, and then on top of that, we're playing a bunch of, like we're playing the Wolf, we're playing the Punk package, we're playing Jet Synchron, the Shufflers, just all around wants to mill its own stuff deck here. Very cool. Trap Shrek sneaking in here as well. Toad, I'm sure, is very happy about that. Got another Vanquish Soul list here as well. I see this comment down here. This is like such a wrong takeaway from seeing tournament tops like this. If you see off-meta decks topping and think to yourself, wow, this tournament must have been full of really crappy people, then you're not only undermining the achievements of the people who did well in this tournament, you're entirely missing the point. Like, this to me probably reads as somebody who's like, what? The decks I expected to do well didn't do well? Well, this doesn't mean that I'm mistaken. It means that everybody who entered this tournament is crappy at the game. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not correct or productive. And it's not helpful. Like, that kind of sentiment helps exactly nobody. So, yeah, I really can't stand when people have takeaways like that. It's like, talk about taking the exact wrong message away from the data you're looking at. Factory Cup Finals. Only 32 people, but it was the invitational for the Factory Cups, which tend to be pretty decently populated tournaments. Looks like it was won by Nateria. Again, we're seeing that in these single elim best of 3 tournaments that Nateria actually tends to perform better when it has multiple games, when it can afford to lose one due to breaking, when it has the ability to utilize a very flexible side deck. That makes sense to me. It's also why I do think this is a lot of the reason why people kind of tend not to put as much faith in Master Duel Meta's tier list in particular. Note that Master Duel Meta's tier list does use tournament results and not ladder results, but the problem with using a mix of tournament results is that you get best of 3 results in there, as well as best of 1 results, which when you're blending those together tend not to paint a very accurate picture of the meta in the form of the tier list, in my opinion. Got Dragon Link here. Teching Bestial Aliber, I noticed, seems to be an increasingly popular tech in the builds. Pearly doing pretty well here, just because a pretty standard Pearly build. Dogmatica. Very solid deck. Very cool to see it do well here. And yet another Dragon Link that's also playing the Bestial Aliber here as well. Panda Magician. We typically see Panda Magician do pretty well in tournaments. Sword Soul. Nice to see that still putting up some results. And of course we got Brandon Espia with the Puppet Lock. Puppet Lock might not be necessarily ideal, but in a best of 3 it does tend to perform better for sure. And also, I'm going to say it again. Please ban Albion Sanctifier like we did Expulsion. Let's just please do that already. Alright. Decade Meta Weekly. This one had 139 participants. Again, single elim, best of 3. No side decks in this one, though. And it was taken by Sword Soul. Awesome stuff. Good job, Sword Soul player. Got another Despia deck with Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Again, can we please just ban this card? Like we did Expulsion, that would be nice. Ooh, Kashira Zodiac doing well. That makes sense to me, especially in a best of 3 meta. Alright, here's another 60-card Dragon Link list. Got another pretty standard-looking Pearly list, played by Lemon. This is a pretty good player. I definitely recognize the name. Dragon Link list, teching Blackwing Shanga. It's a cool tech there. Monodium on a couple of Bestials, as well as the Kashira package. I do think that is probably the way to go with Monodium. Another pretty standard Pearly list here. Fairly standard 60-card branded list here. No Gimmick Puppet Nightmare going on this time. Orcust. Cool to see Orcust doing well with a 60-card variant. Got another Monodium build. Monodium's a very good deck, by the way. This one's playing the Zodiac package. There were a lot of people who were doubting Monodium when it came out. I got told by people not to build the deck. They're like, it's so expensive and it's not going to be good. You're going to be wasting your gems. And I'm like, it's fine. The deck is definitely good. I don't know what people were talking about, but okay. Here's another Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Despia build. Again, please ban Albion Sanctifier. Plague Meister on also Gimmick Puppet branded build. Please ban Albion Sanctifier. Kashira. Pure Kashira. No Zodiacs. No pretty much anything else. No adventure stuff. No Tomahawk. Yep. Pure Cash. Again, best of 3. Makes sense to see it do a little bit better. Oh, another Orca stack here. I wonder if, what card came off and... Oh, it was Harp Horror. I wonder if Harp Horror coming off the list in the TCG inspired more people to try the deck out in Master Duel. Anderson's Strife with the VS list, and there we go. One more tournament to look at here. This one's going to be from China. It's definitely a smaller one, only 33 players, but we see Mathmech adding Nister continuing to do well. Because on Avalon putting up some results. More Monadium results. This one on the Hero Lives package, which I don't think is as good as some of the other ones, but definitely can still do well. And yeah, only the top 3 lists from this one. So there we have it. That is this week in Master Duel. We had a lot to talk about today between the leaks, the usage rate stats, and these tournament lists. So if you have any thoughts about any of it, I implore you to share that in the comment section below. Definitely always looking forward to hearing from you all. And yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it. Let us now move to the outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.